everyone, and welcome back to the Willy Wonka Fibers podcast. My name is Anne, and this is a podcast about my knitting, spinning, indie dye business, indie design business, and all my fun crafty life things. You can find me on the web at my main website, which is www.woolywonkafiber.com. I also have a Ravelry group, which is Willy Wonka Fibers, as well as Instagram and Facebook, also as Willy Wonka Fibers. If you're interested in my personal Ravelry pages, you can find me under Bunny Spinner there. I hope everyone is doing great. Summer is officially here in more ways than one. Today is Monday, the 20th of June, 2016. So it is the summer solstice today, and it's also summer feeling here. It is super, super hot. Excuse me, moving kitty helpers who were not being so helpful. We're not hot the way Arizona's hot. I mean, it's not 112 degrees, but it was 100 and I think it was 100 degrees here, and my husband had to drive down the hill to Albuquerque yesterday to catch a plane out for work flight. And I think he said it was 109 when he hit the city at, I think it was 5 o'clock. It's warm. Yeah, I have no interest in doing anything at all outside. I'm just holed up in the air conditioning. So glad that we have air conditioning that works this summer because our AC unit died last year, the hottest week of the year. So that's kind of how we roll here. This year, air conditioner, 2 thumbs up. I am loving it. It's like my best friend right now. So I've been inside doing some knitting, doing some spinning, trying to stay cool, and I hope you guys are as well. I am going to talk about all of the things that I'm working on right now as the first and most of this podcast. If you're interested in some shop information, hang out till the very end. I'm going to stick those announcements at the end. I do have a giveaway, but we're going to talk about that at the front end. So we'll kind of blanket our business stuff in there. Anyway, let's just jump right on in. I don't have a ton of finished objects this week. I'm in the midst of some larger projects that are taking me a little longer to get through, which is fine. But I do have one finished thing to share with you guys, and that is my caramel latte socks, which I finished up this week. These were a super fun knit. They've got great texture, which you can see, and it's a pretty straightforward pattern. I mean, there's nothing difficult about it. There's no cables or anything like that, really. I take that back. There's a set of small cables, but you can cable them without a cabling needle, which I did, and that speeds things up. But I did have to spend time with the pattern. The pattern was not something I was able to memorize, which is also fine, just not a plain vanilla sock by any stretch. So these are from the Coffee with CC collection, which you can find on Ravelry, and I'll link to this specific pattern, but I'm doing this as part of a knit along with the Knitting Broomstick. And I knit these in the colorway Fauve, which is a great, I think, match for the pattern. It's kind of a warm, nutty brown. Kind of reminds me of, like the froth on the top of a latte. This is their MCN base, so it's superwash merino cashmere nylon. Let's see. The only modification I really made for the pattern was I used a Fish Lips Kiss heel and not the short row heel that was written for it. So everything else, though, is as written. I knit the medium size, the middle size, and it came out to basically 3 repeats of the pattern here and 3 repeats of the pattern here. So a pretty evenly divided up sock. They fit great. They're super comfortable. These are also going to go in my box of socks knit along. They'll go in that box that I'm collecting 12 pairs for the knit along that Kristen at Yarngasm Podcast is hosting. And they'll also go in my Sock Club 2016 knit along from the Knitting Broomstick. So another pair I'm cranking through, and these were also stash yarn, so that makes me really happy. Another skein out of stash. I'm going to take a little break from the Coffee with CC socks. I think I have 2 more pairs of socks. I think that, no, 3 more pairs of socks and a shawl to knit out of the total of 7. And I'm going to save the shawl for September. I'm going to have a lot of road trip time, and I thought that would be a good project. I think I will start the next Coffee with CC sock in July. I'm kind of reorganizing what I'm doing, but anyway, time to think about that. I will put something on the needles at some point. So that's the only true finished object I have for this week. The way I'm counting for Stash Dash this year, this is Sunday would have finished at the end of week 3. And I'm at just under 4,800 yards. So if I can crank through another 1,800 or so yards between now and the end of this week that we're in right now, so what would that be, the 26th or thereabouts, I'll be right spot on track for the 15K mark. I'll have a third of it done, and we're a third of the way through, so I might have a chance. I might have a chance at actually doing that, which would be pretty amazing. So let me talk about what I have on the needles right now. The first thing is a new secret knitting project that I'm working on. It's going to be an exclusive pattern for the Hill Country Yarn Crawl that will be available in Misty's shop, the Happy You in Jonestown, as part of the crawl. So I've started that project. I'm a little more than a third and just not quite half done but that is my kind of work focus project. So I'm being diligent and working on that kind of during my daytime knitting hours to get that accomplished. Obviously did not bring that to show you since it's a secret, like it is. And the other thing I did not bring to show you today was my heathered cardigan. I showed you last time that I had got down through the raglan shaping for the sleeves and had put the underarms on, or had put the sleeve stitches on scrap yarn and was ready to start the underarms down. And so I knit probably 3 inches of the body, and then I tried it on, and I realized that this depth was still too short. I hadn't added enough rows, and I'm actually a fairly broad-shouldered person, and if I don't have enough depth here on raglans, they pull really badly, and I feel like I'm wearing something that's too small, even if it fits me every other place. So sadly, I will rip out all 3 inches of that work that I did and add a few more rows, and the raglan increases so that my depth is actually deep enough. I think I had mentioned before that the row count, my row count, is different than what the pattern calls for, so I was having to do a little bit of alteration in order to get enough drop there anyway. I didn't quite get enough. I won't take a ton of rows, but I do have to go back and fix that. So I didn't bother bringing that to show you because I have to take a deep breath and rip out all that work. So I'll do that this week at some point and try to get that back on track. The other 2 projects that I'm working on that I have made some progress that I can actually count on. The first one is my Talisman shawl, which is the first pattern released from Helen Stewart's Shawl Society, #1. I'm making the middle size. There are 3 sizes in the pattern, and I'm knitting it with Woolly Wonka Fibers Gaia sock in the Bluebells color. And this is where I am so far. It's really a very long crescent. So you can see, I can't even get it all really in the image for you. It's just got some pretty little stitch detail in it. You can kind of see that. Let's see if I can get it to focus up. And I think it is one row off the 60% mark. The way Helen writes her patterns, you can kind of check off each row and see where you are proportionately, so you can figure out how much yarn you need to have to finish, or how much yarn you're eating up. So this is just about the 60% mark. I'm really enjoying this. As like a relaxing, kind of brainless knit. There's a lot of rows of just plain stockinette. And this colorway I'm really happy with. You can see it's got blues and some very kind of pale middle range green, and then little tiny pops of a dark rose in it. Really like this. And it's a singles construction, so it's a single ply superwash merino. Really soft. I have a couple skeins still up in the shop of a different colorway. If you decide you'd like to make that, each skein is 400 yards, so there's plenty for a middle range shawl. Let me show you. I think I do. Let me show you guys the photo of the pattern. Well, maybe I will. I know it's in here somewhere. Here we go. So I will also link to this in the show notes, but here's the talisman shawl. Really simple, very pretty, little lace border. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to having it done. My goal is to have this one finished by the middle of July. I want to wear it for an event, and so I would like to have it done by then, as opposed to having the knitting needles falling out of it. So I'm working on that. Probably won't have that finished this week unless I get a ton of unexpected knitting time. So I'll look at maybe getting to the 80% mark, see how far that gets me, and go from there. But that's it for that. The next thing that I am working on, I actually started not so long ago, but it is a pair of hand-spun DK weight socks. I did decide to go ahead and stick those on the needles for my June hand-spun knit-along project that I'm hosting. And these are knitting up crazy quick because, you know, they're DK weight socks. I'm kind of sort of using the pattern called Cabin Socks. That's from Clara Park's book, The Book of Wool. It's actually one of her patterns. But my gauge was just enough off that I had to adjust the stitch count, which is not a huge deal because this is not a difficult pattern. So here is the yarn, which is kind of falling apart because I'm getting to the end of the ball. But there is the hand spun. It is a superwash merino. It's a chained ply, meaning I spun all the singles, and then I did a chained ply, so it works like a 3-ply yarn, but it keeps big chunks of the color intact, fairly intact. And I spun it with the thought that I was going to make some socks from it, so this is like the perfect project. So I finished sock 1. I used the stitch pattern, which is a mistake stitch rib, for the leg and the foot, and I'm actually knitting these toe up, so I can use as much of the yardage of that hand spun I've got. Alterations I made. I did Fish Lips Kiss heel, and I also only did a 44 stitch leg circumference on this. I think the smallest one in the book was 48, but like I said, it's an easy pattern, so it was very simple to adjust and make work. It's super stretchy though. They're so comfortable on. I just finished them off with a basic 1x1 rib. So anyway, sock number 1 is done, and you can see it really retained a nice version of the actual die stripe pattern. And then I have finished through the heel on sock number 2, and I'm ready to do the leg, which I don't think will take me too long. I mean, it's probably a night of watching a movie or thereabouts. These are incredibly comfortable. I mean, you know, when it's 100 degrees out, DK weight socks just sound great, don't they? But they will sound great when the winter comes. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep these for me or not. I mean, you guys, they are just so comfortable. I keep putting them on and thinking, ooh, I want to wear these now. Um, or whether I'm going to gift them. I haven't decided. But anyway, so I'm hoping that these will be done this week, and I think they probably will be. That, you know, won't take a ton of time to finish up the one leg. So that's what I have currently on the needles. Let's move on to our giveaway because that's really fun, and I can share a project with you that is a finished object but not a recent finished object. I finished it back in February. Um, I was really delighted to have this particular shawl included in the brand new Knit Picks collection called Joyful Lace. Here it is on the back cover. It's this one right here. So this is a collection that Knit Picks did in-house. They shot all the photographs and published it. You can also get the patterns individually, and I will link to both my pattern as well as the whole collection in the show notes. But you can get an individual download, or you can choose to get the book. There are 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 13 patterns, and they're all shawls and they're all lace. They use either a lace weight or a fingering weight, and there's some gorgeous ones in here. Let me show you the photographs that they did for mine. This is a fingering weight version. It used Palette, which is their one. It's kind of similar to a lot of the jumper weight, the British jumper weight or fingering weight yarns. They've got oodles and oodles and oodles of colors. If you can't find 2 colors that make you happy, I don't think there's any pleasing you. There's lots of different options you can pick from. I really liked this one too. I think that's a great wearable one. That's called Austin by Kirsten Singer. And then, let's see, trying to find this other one here. Get the front picture. And I think this Pharos shawl is really pretty. That is by Joyce Fassbender. At any rate, the way that Knit Picks works with designers is they send you, the designer, enough yarn of your choice, whatever colors you want, kind of within their palette, to make the sample, and then they choose the final colorways. Everything in this book is a very muted blue, muted purple, muted gray. So they actually photographed my shawl in a kind of pewter and then a sort of mid-range gray that one of their sample knitters knit up. I did mine in 2 colors, this really clear ice blue, and here's the first pattern section and the second pattern section, and then the bottom section I added in a really clear, almost Tiffany blue, but not quite. It's got a little bit more gray in it. So anyway, this is a really fun shawl to knit. It's asymmetrical. It's got lots of stuff to keep you busy, but nothing that's too crazy scary in terms of patterns. The biggest thing is you just have to keep track of where your increases are so you can add the patterns in. It starts at this little teeny tiny end, and then you knit all the way through this really pretty border, which I love. The border is my favorite part of this shawl. And it's a nice size, a good weight, kind of medium weight. Yeah, so kind of nice for summer, I thought. So here's the deal. Since you guys have seen this great book, I am offering a giveaway of not 1, but 2 copies of this book. I have 2 copies. So you have 2 ways to win. The first is you can pop over to my Ravelry group where I have started a thread that says Joyful Lace Giveaway. pop over there and leave a comment about which of the patterns, which of the 13 patterns in this book is your favorite. That's all you have to do. Random number generator, and I will pick a winner. Today's Monday, Wednesday, so I can shift that out in the hopes that you can have it by this weekend. The drawing will end noon Mountain Time, Wednesday, June 22nd. The second way that you guys can win is if you pop over to my Instagram feed, which is Willy Wonka Fibers. I will also be posting the same question over there. Just leave a comment. That's all you have to do. Leave a comment on that post. I will be posting that today, Monday the 20th, and you'll have a second chance to win. So there'll be 2 different drawings. If for some reason the exact same person winds up getting picked in the random number generator, I will select a second one so that I can have 2 individual people win. I think that's a little more fair, and that would be a strange and wonderful coincidence. So anyway, if you love this collection, and I think that you will if you love lace or love knitting shawls, there are some great ones in here. Please do go over there, leave a comment, let me know, and that'll give you a chance to win a copy of all of those patterns. Then you can knit to your heart's content this summer. And you don't even have to say that mine is your favorite. Although if you do, that's nice. I appreciate it. It's one of my favorites, but there's some more traditional looking patterns in there, and I know sometimes the asymmetrical shawls aren't for everybody. So I think that's it for works in progress, finished objects, and giveaway. We're doing good. Let's move on to spinning. Again, we're under 2 weeks now before Tour de Fleece kicks off. Very excited about that. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. There's lots of chatter over in the Tour de Fleece thread. Lots of great groups you can join. I, of course, have one in the Willy Wonka Fibers group and would love to have you along for the fun if you're so inclined. I don't have a finished spin this week because I'm working on an 8-ounce combo spin. So let me show you what I do have. I showed you the fiber for this one last week. This is a braid of hand-painted Polworth in reds and kind of plums and a bright red purple. So I have finished spinning the singles up on that. Trying to get you guys a good representation of the color, but I'm having trouble with that apparently. Let's see what happens if I keep moving it back. Nope, still not. That's not too bad. It's very subtle, but really pretty blending of the colors. I just took the braid and I split it into 6 really long strips and I spun them end to end, singles. So the first 4 ounces are done. The thing I'm going to be spinning to ply with those singles is another braid of Polworth. This is from 2F by Hand. It's their Potions Master colorway. It's deeper in real life than it's showing up here for whatever reason. But lots of kind of plums and purples, and I think will look really good when they're applied together. It'll be an almost but not quite solid, which is what I'm going for. I'm spinning this fairly fine. I'm looking for a 2-ply, light fingering to fingering weight. And I should have a decent amount of yardage, I think, from this. The Polworth does tend to poof up a little bit. Not quite as much as maybe merino, at least not in my experience. But the plan is to finish this one this week, spinning the singles, and get it plied with the already finished singles. What was I going to say about that? Oh, I've already started spinning the singles for this. So this is already on the wheel. I'm going to work on that as the week progresses. So I think that's it. I'd like to have those cleared off. The Tour de Fleece starts July 2nd. If I can get these done this week, I have another small spin that I may just kind of pop in there. It's a little 3-ouncer. And do fairly quickly. Try to get that done before the tour kicks off. but we'll see. You know, the tour does not require you to have like a totally start from scratch project, and since working on my spin the bin projects, it's just kind of like the revolving door. So whatever I get done, great. I'm just gonna stay focused on that, um, and spin as much as I can. That's about it. I do have a new fiber acquisition to share with you guys this week. The last of the Undersea Life Club from Fat Cat Knits came today. This is or Saturday, excuse me. This is the third of three offerings from the Undersea Life Club that Ginny at Fat Cat Knits has been doing. She was inspired by nudibranches or sea slugs. For this, she found some really interesting photos and lots of bright colors. Again, in Ginny's club, you get 2.5 ounce braids of complementary colors. So let's see, make sure I get these straight. The base fiber she sent us is 63% Polworth, 25% brown alpaca, 12% natural gray linen. And the first colorway is Molly, which is this one. It's got orange and yellow and some turquoise and green in it. And then this is Jessie, and it's got kind of blue greens, plum, kind of a bronze green. It's got a lot of yellow. This particular green has a lot of yellow in it. And here they are together. Haven't decided yet what direction I'm going to go with this spin. Again, since I'm kind of concentrating on my spin the bin projects, these won't get on the wheel for a while, so I have time to think about it. I'm tempted to spin them separately and then do something stripy or color work with them. I think there's enough yellow in here that it would carry without blending too much if I were to stripe them. I'll have to see, because the dark brown alpaca is going to change how the final colors look in that. I tend to like this kind of swirl base, whether it's, you know, a merino swirl or BFL or this great blend with the linen in it that I'm anxious to spin. It kind of gives the finished yarn a sort of antique feel. Yeah, anyway, so I'm looking forward to those when I get to them. Again, no huge rush, and they'll go in stash for a while I work on my spin the bin project and get some more things done on that. Let's see, so all of the knit-alongs, as well as links to patterns that I've discussed, they'll all be in the show notes, so you guys can find everything. I think that's where we are with all of that. I'm doing pretty good today. Oh, I should note, for the Tour de Fleece group, there will be prizes if you choose to become a member of my group. I've got some fiber, Southern Cross fiber, that my friend Laura who's the hostess of At the Corner of Knit and Tea, that podcast, she sent to give away. I've got an orifice hook. I'll have some other fun prizes as well. We'll probably do a prize a week and then a grand prize at the end. So hopefully you guys can join us for that. So if you've been listening along and you're just interested in the stuff I'm doing, we're done that part, and I wanted to move on to some sort of shop-based announcements for the upcoming month. So if that doesn't interest you, you are excused, and I will see you again next week. If you are interested, I wanted to let everybody know that I have some kind of upcoming changes. I found out last week that I have to have some surgery, and that's scheduled for July 20th. And unfortunately, it's enough of a major surgery that I am on a pretty hefty lifting restriction for a full 6 weeks. And me being me, this drives my husband crazy. Knowing that 8 pounds was my limit, which is a gallon of water, when I was in my shop this past weekend, I went through and I weighed everything I was working with. to figure out, how reasonable it was for me to be lifting, toting, all that stuff. Unfortunately, basically what I will be able to pick up is one of the gradient skeins or a small container that has about a half a gallon of water in it with mini skeins. That's it. So if you are a member of my sweater club, I did post this in the Ravelry group, but I wanted to mention it here. Instead of having packages ship out on September 15th, everything will get pushed back 15 days. So it's going to be October 1st when your packages ship. When I dye large lots, and this is for things like shows, wholesale orders, sweater lots, all the skeins go into one pot. And that pot weighs about 15 pounds. Even getting 6 to 8 skeins of wet yarn, like to lift them out of the water if I'm doing multicolored baths, is more than 8 pounds. So as a result, I'm not going to be able to, get those out the door. In that same vein, I will not be taking custom orders through the summer. And unfortunately, because of how various and sundry things show up in terms of schedule, no custom orders. I won't take any custom orders until I am back from the Salida Fiber Festival and the brief vacation that we have planned, which will be about September 18th, which is a long way away. And I get that. And I apologize. Trust me, I would not be having surgery if this was not a you need to come in and do this. This isn't, negotiable. So I will muddle on as best I can. If you are a member of the Fiber Club or the Heroin Shawl Club, not to worry. I am currently dyeing all of that right now. Actually, Friday, I ordered 35 pounds of various and sundry base yarns and another whole box of fiber. So I will have everything dyed, and all it has to do is have a mailing label stuck on it, and my husband will take it to the post office for me. So nothing will be affected for the Fiber Club or the Heroines Club. It's just the Sweater Club and any custom dyes. If I can swing it, I will have some very small shop updates over the summer, and certainly anything that's currently in the shop and that I can get put into the shop over the next 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it is, before I actually go in for surgery, that's already dyed and in stock. Fair game. If you love it, grab it. I can do the shipping part. I will be kind of off the radar, I would suspect, for at least the first week or thereabouts. So there will not be a podcast on, I believe it's July 25th. If you have any questions in my Ravelry group, please feel free to contact my co-moderator, my friend Toby. She's knit a lot of my patterns, and she is going to be kind of monitoring the group and monitoring the various forum posts. So please feel free to carry on as usual, and if you have any questions about things, even a question about a pattern that you don't understand, please feel free to contact her. She is Toby Knits, and if you go to our main Willy Wonka Fiber page, scroll down to the bottom of that first page, she's down there as a moderator as well, so you can find her very easily. And I so greatly appreciate the fact that she is willing to help kind of hold the fort down for me. I have no idea really what to expect. It's the kind of thing that if everything goes great, it'll be a 23-hour admission. I'll be out of the hospital and home. There's just enough unknown possibility for some complications and things that, I could wind up being in the hospital for 3 days and having a even more major surgery than what we think is going to happen. And I'm holding on to the hope that that is exactly what happens and there are no funky surprises and, it all goes smoothly and according to plan. And I'm mostly just sitting on the couch vibrating because I feel so wonderful that I can't stand sitting there knowing that I should be getting some work accomplished and I'm really not. My friend Jenny who is Tiny Dancer Knits. Jen, I really appreciate your very positive thoughts that this is just a great time to sit and knit. And you're totally right. If I can do that, that is my plan. I've got a bunch of stuff wound up and ready to go, whether it's just going to be plain vanilla socks or something a little more in depth. Not quite sure where I will be on that continuum, but since I have knit while I'm falling asleep, I think I probably can at least do some basic knitting. That's my hope. So thank you for that. And I also just wanted to say a shout out to my friend Susan, who has also test knit and sample knit for me for a lot of things. And I told her I was a little bit worried about some deadlines, and she took 2 sample knits off of my plate already and potentially could take another 2 for me if things don't go as smoothly as I think. So thank you for offering to do that over the summer, Susan, because that was a huge weight off to just quit thinking about that stuff and know that it's going to get taken care of no matter how I feel. So I appreciate that. And so I certainly know that y'all are understanding and kind and lovely people. And while it probably upsets me more that I can't hit some deadlines in terms of the sweater club and, you know, kind of having stuff stocked up, you know, it is what it is. And sometimes you got to go do things that you don't want to do as an adult. And so this is like one of those, and we'll move on. Yeah, and so all will be good. So anyway, on that kind of not so positive note, but necessary, I will plan on talking to you guys next week, next Monday, which will be June 27th. So please get out and enjoy today, the solstice, whether you're experiencing hot weather or cooler weather if you're in the opposite hemisphere from us here in the United States. I hope you have a great week and weekend filled with fun and crafting and lots of good family time. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their summer, even though I'm kind of already looking forward to fall and warm woolies. And I will talk with you guys next week. So take care.